Alrighty, folks, thank you for being here. This is just a kickoff kind of introduction to what I envision the next kind of 10 meetings will be probably over the next 3 to 4 months. First and foremost, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this first and I'm thinking only live boot camp that I will do. It means a lot that you had faith to give this a shot. Also, thank you so much for answering the 5 questions, right? I sent each of you 5 questions to kind of let me know where each of you are at. And let me just say, with a group of this size, it may not be of a surprise to you, but we are all in different places. Some of us are sort of in the journey. You have a unit or two. You're looking to maybe be more disciplined or clean up, some things that you've done on the first two and move forward. Some of you have not even picked a market yet, and that's where we're going to go. So I want to give you kind of high-level outline of what each of the meetings or days will be. First, there is no one good day. One of my 5 questions was like, what days work for you and what days absolutely don't. I put that all together in a spreadsheet, and there are certainly days better than others, but there is no perfect day. I was hoping, I don't know, beyond hope that we might find something. So the first thing I want to highlight is my plan for days is going to be, I will alternate between Friday evening, Saturday morning, and Sunday mornings, right? We will, and the meetings will always be recorded. You will always know next week topic ahead of time. So if you can't make it, I would ask for you to send me your questions, right? For example, day 1 is going to be, I need to pick a market. Help me pick a market. I have ideas on what markets I want. So the first day is going to actually be Sunday, September 17th from 8 to 10 a.m. And again, the first topic is going to be, hey, help me pick a market. Michael, I have three ideas. I have no idea. What should I do? So every day we're going to start with meat and potatoes. And then because we are all at different places, I envision having somewhere between 60 and probably 75 minutes of open Q&A. So for example, day 1, September 17th, you have a market, you're locked in, you have a buy box. The first 45 minutes, you can chime in, you can help, you could give advice to others who are not there yet. But then at some point, we will transition to open Q&A. And it could be any question. I'm an open book, which you hopefully know by now. I will answer the question, of course, the best I can. If I need to get help from one of my experts, of course I will. But that's how I envision going forward. Now, what do I hope happens by having all of us go down this path together is I hope we all kind of end up in the same place. In 10 weeks, it's not really 10 weeks because there'll be some weeks we spread them out over a couple of weeks. Well, into 4 months, I really hope you understand my framework and you're at a point where you are building confidence in yourself. A lot of folks highlighted to me in my 5 questions, I need to be held accountable. I want to feel confident when I'm doing. I'm nervous. I'm concerned. I get it. It can be nerve-wracking. So my hope is over the 10 weeks together, we walk hand in hand. Each week, we will try to get everybody to the next path. Some of you will have homework. For example, September 17th, again, 8 to 10 a.m., our first meeting. Some of you are going to come to that meeting, basically leading the discussion. Like, I'm just going to pick on Jason. Jason's right in front of me. I don't know if this is true, Jason, but Jason could come in and say, Michael, I don't have a market. I'm thinking it could be Dallas, Texas, Detroit, or Tallahassee. I'm just making stuff up. And we're going to talk. We're going to riff. We're going to go through that. And then somebody else will go. Maybe it will be Gina, who doesn't have a market yet. And we're going to go through all of that. So we're going to take everybody day one who doesn't have a market. We're going to listen. We're going to give advice. And then you might get homework, right? Again, I talked about in the setup to this that I'm going to manage you like I used to manage my sales reps. So what we're going to do together is we're going to come to some agreement, and I'm going to document the agreement. And then I'm going to hold you accountable. So, for example, just picking on Jason and Gina, because those are the two names that I said earlier. Again, I think it was Dallas, Detroit, and Tallahassee for Jason in my example. We're going to go through that. We're going to talk about 10, 11, 12 questions. And Jason's homework might be, I'm going to pick one of those. And it's not, I'm going to pick one, Jay, in this example, but it's, I'm going to pick one because of this, because of something we have talked about over the day. Okay. So again, I'll have notes with me. I'll understand where we're at. So that's, I'm going to pat you on the back and maybe kick you in the butt. It's nothing I do ever is intentional or mean, but sometimes some of us are motivated by a little prodding. So I'm going to hope, if that happens, that's okay. And I think that's just managing expectations, documenting expectations. And again, please, in order for us to do this together, if I say, for example, you have homework and I want you to look at 3 markets and tell me the population and, the number one school or whatever it is we agree on. And then I tell you, I need that answer in a week. If you say yes, I'm going to hold you to that. If I say a week and you say, Michael, I can't, my kid's getting married, I'm out of town, I'm on vacation, that's okay. This is us doing this together. So never, ever, ever feel like I am trying to paint you into a corner. I'm just trying to get to a point where we all move forward. And if there's life events going on, I know this is all part-time for all of us. I just need you to tell me, Michael, I understand I owe you homework, but I can't get it done by X date. And then we'll talk about it. And, maybe there'll be someone in the group or someone else that can help them. So again, lots of you were excited by that opportunity. So I will get into that. I see somebody left a comment or a chat. Let me pull those up. Let's just see. You missed the first 5 minutes. We're going to alternate. There is no good day. We're going to alternate meetings between Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday will likely be in the mornings. Those are the easiest to me. If needed, we could do some in the evening as well, but they will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lots of people work. It's different hours, East Coast, West Coast. So most of the weekdays just didn't make sense. Okay, so that's the question. What else do I have? So at the end of this, again, my real hope and desire is all of you have more confidence in yourself after we're done with this. That is the real stated goal. I can't promise a deal. I would never promise a deal, but my framework has proven to work. And I hope by going together, we understand how each of you individually could build more confidence. I think it's focus. I think it's repetition. I think it's asking your questions that you may be too nervous to do in larger forums, right? This is a very, very small group. So you shouldn't be nervous about asking your question. I promise you, somebody else has the question. I've been doing this long enough to know. It's very rare that I get a brand new question after doing this for a decade. So that's that. Yeah, any questions? Kind of, I'm just riffing off my notes that I had for this. Any questions? Again, opening up. You can unmute yourself or raise your hand if you're more comfortable. This again is just us.
Are the times Pacific Standard that you mentioned?
Yeah, every time I mention it'll be Pacific Standard. Thank you. I don't know who asked that, but thank you. Yeah, I'm in California or Vegas today, and I just default to that. I apologize. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. How many folks on this call don't have a market? We have 35 folks. Raise your hand if you have yet to pick a market. All right, so oh, good. So let's talk about that. So it looks like more than half the group, roughly maybe 40% of the group, don't have a market. So that is going to be the discussion on September 17th, 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific. So if you're going to be able to make that meeting, bring all of your questions. We will go one by one. Everybody will get a chance. So on the screen, I have Michael, Kaysena, Daniel, and Kenny, and Catherine, and there may be others. I'm just looking at the hands that are up on the screen. Each of you will get a chance, and we'll just go in order. What do you got? What are you looking at? You'll get all of your questions, and then we will just go through the list. Everybody will get their time. Nobody will be missed. So that's really how it's going to be. And then again, we'll have open questions after that. What I would ask you, if you have a market, which again is roughly half of you, and you don't have a buy box yet, or if you have a buy box, but you're really unsure if you have it right, because you bought this course, I have given all of you access to everything I've ever created. Please, over the next week or so, go watch the 2-hour deep dive buy box. I don't know what you call it, event. It's you now have access to it. That is something that all of us will watch, but if you're still stuck at picking the market, you can wait, right? You're going to get that as your homework next time. So yeah, at the end of 10 weeks, I hope all of us have a market, all of us have a buy box, all of us have daily discipline, all of us have our own Excel spreadsheets, all of us understand how yield is calculated, all of us understand where we are weak in our network. We all understand A, B, and C remodel, or how to do that. We all understand where we need to add team members. We need to grow our network. I have big goals or big hopes for all of this. And I'm really going to lean on all of you to just be an open book and ask all questions. And yeah, and again, remember, these will all be recorded. So for example, if you can't make the buy box or the Sunday session, I will record it and then I will upload it on Teachable so you can watch it later. So again, if you do not have a market today and you know you can't make Sunday the 17th, please email me your questions. I will start the session with any email questions I get, so that when you go back and watch the replay, the first 10 or 20 minutes, however long it is, your questions will be addressed. And then we will go to the folks in the meeting. I do expect as we do this, there may be 10 of you, 11, 12 of you that don't have a market. By the time we get to the 6th or 7th person, I suspect we will start hearing things together like, nope, you've answered my question. I got it. But you may have your own nuances. And I will go as long as it takes to make sure that we answer any and all questions for each topic. So that's going to be day 1, the 17th. I don't know when the second day will be, but it will likely be around the buy box. Hence the ask. If you have a market, watch the buy box video. So we are speaking the same language. Any other questions or thoughts, expectations, something you want to say? Gina, you have your hand raised? Oh,
That was just for the market question.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. No, it's fine. That's fine. I'm
Mike,
getting used to all these things.
You
Hi,
said the
Carrie.
17th. What time on the 17th?
Sorry, 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Hi, Karen. A question?
Hi, Michael. Quick question. What if I'm not good at Excel?
I will be able to help you. The spreadsheet that I have is intentionally simple.
Okay.
So we will go through it together. It's
Okay.
The most advanced thing in my spreadsheet is addition and subtraction.
Okay.
Right? You can get really geeky and add mortgage and pay down and interest, but you don't have to. I work with a lot of folks who are not Excel savvy. Hence, the spreadsheet that's in the course is remarkably simple. And then a lot of you that are great at Excel, you're like, dude, what are you doing to me? You can automate a lot more of this. Well, I'm like, I have to answer both sides. So yes, I will make sure you are comfortable with each and every cell, Karen, when we get there. That might be day 3 or day 4, but I'll need you to be there so we can go through it together.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That is definitely a goal of mine, is for everybody to become, because when you understand the simplicity of the spreadsheet, you can start to tweak variables and watch the yield explode. And that's when you know you've got it. Like when I say, hey, what's the yield on that deal? 3%. And I'm like, what does it take to make it 8%? Right? Lower down, lower price, lower rate. These are all variables that you can play with. We will get you there. Yeah, we will definitely get you there. That's my hope.
Hey, Michael, I have a couple of questions. In terms of like scheduling, are you going to give us like all the days and times ahead of time? Or are we going to play it by ear, week by week?
I think we'll do one session at a time.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's I have a busy life. I'm going around traveling myself, so I can commit kind of 1 week. My vision, Jason, is every couple weeks we will have one day.
Gotcha.
Right? We'll pick a day. Maybe one time we'll vote or something, but it's just so hard. There's 40 some people and it's tough. But the first day I can tell you will be Sunday, September 17th, 8 to 10 a.m.
Okay, sounds good. And then the other question I had was, you mentioned possibly watching the buy box deep dive ahead of the first one. Is there anything else you would suggest us to do since we do have access to all the content?
That's the first. So that I would, if you have a market, I would call that a requirement. If you don't have a market yet, it might create confusion. So let's order it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
If you have units, like a couple of you have 2 or 3 units already, and you've had these for 4 or 5 years, there's a video, I think the title is Leveraging Debt Equity. That was a very interesting conversation with the 3 amigos and Mike, talking about how we look at our portfolio, how we extract, when we extract. That was interesting if you have a portfolio already. If you want to, the Get the Money Right course, there's a couple of financial exercises in there that I think are wildly underappreciated. There's a need versus want analysis, and there's also a how big life you want. That's something I did with all of my millionaires probably 2 years ago now. I should go back and do it. It's like, what is your lifestyle cost today? How could you, what's the minimum? And then like, what's the ball out scenario? So there's some pretty powerful stuff in that. If you really wanted to geek out on expenses, get to feel how big a number you have or you need. There's so much now that you have access to, but those are things off the top of my head, Jason.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Amy, you have your hand raised, but that may just be for a market. I don't know. Maybe you have a question.
Oh, I do. Yeah. So I was wondering, besides the class or like the meetings, would we have like some breakout sessions in between or some kind of group chat just to be connected with classmates or just something in between the sessions?
I am again, this is, I obviously have each and everyone's email. I blind copied you on the invite for this because I didn't feel like I had permission to share your emails with everyone. But I think it's a great idea. I think encouraging folks, finding folks that you're kind of on this journey together, like bouncing ideas, take somebody strong in Excel, weak in Excel. I think there's a lot of plus to that. I certainly encourage it, but I don't know that I could mandate that, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Amy?
Yeah, it does. So I guess if I'm just wondering if you could start a thread where like if people who want to be part of a chat, they can put their name in and then we can go from there.
Okay. All right. So maybe I can send it. So I'm just trying to play this out. So send an email out to everyone blind copied, just saying, hey, would you like to be part of a big group or a team? I guess a team alias or whatever you call that. And anybody that says yes, we can create one. Anybody says no, we'll just keep them out. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, I think so. Just so, yeah, it's like voluntary and whoever wants to participate can do that.
I will do that this evening. That is a very good idea. And obviously everyone here also has access to the private Facebook group, right? That's another place you could go. You could just create a string of chat inside the Facebook group if you wanted. Say, hey, I'm a Bootcamp member. I'm in this market. we could do that as well. But I will definitely do an email this evening, blind copy, and then you guys can reply if you'd like to be included. So that makes sense. Okay. Other questions or thoughts as we get ready? Any thoughts or questions from anybody else?
Is there a chance that one of the sessions will be about house hacking?
I could do that. Yeah, we could do that for sure. And I could bring other experts. Yep.
If there's enough interest group wise.
Yeah. Yeah. And just so I'm clear, house hacking has many different ilks. Are we talking roommates or units? Just so I get the right people to help.
Ideally quadplex
So units.
for me.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely talk. We can actually bring house hacking into a lot of the equations because you can talk about it as your buy box. We can talk about it as running the calculation because you'll be living in one of the units. What happens if it's an alligator in my world? I think if you're house hacking and it's an alligator, but it's less than your rent would be, it's a plus. So we could definitely work that into most of our conversations. Yeah, house hacking is something I approve of. I wish I did it when I started. I wish I bought one at 20. So please bring that up. House hacking could be a part of almost every day or each day.
I've done it. I've done that twice with both roommates and units.
Very cool. I wish I knew who was speaking. I can't tell, but thank you. Yeah, I think there's definitely value there. If it fits your lifestyle, I can't be any more honest that I wish I bought a fourplex at 20. Yeah. Be on the property ladder much sooner. I didn't get on the property ladder until I was 30, 29. So yeah. Yep. Hi, Karen. Yes.
Okay, so along that lines, I wish I got on the property ladder much earlier too, but I'm towards the later end of my career. Could we talk about suggestions to help move along?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Those should be again brought up each and every session because everyone is at different spots. Yeah, this is just us, and everybody's a unique situation. There are no bad questions. And we're all just trying to get a little bit smarter, a little bit better, feeling good about where we are, not rushing, not making mistakes, being educated. Some of us are early, some of us are later in this journey, so we can't make a mistake. So absolutely. Yes. Catherine? Or is your hand still up from before?
No, I just wanted to chime in and kind of along what Karen just said, and that is, as I think I said in my email to you, Michael, which was, my husband and I are coming to this very late. And so, we need the fast track version of this and really want to know, is it viable and even wise to do it, with a kind of shortened horizon. And, so I just wanted to kind of echo what someone's saying.
I would, I didn't actually do the math, but I would guess 30 to 40% of the folks that signed up are, you're not unique, right, Catherine, Karen? There's more of us that are near the end trying to get started. So we're going to hopefully answer that. And it's going to start with understanding markets, buy box. You're going to have to understand your situation with capital and risk tolerance and all of that. But yeah, hopefully at the end of this, you're like, I understand what I can do. I understand what I'm comfortable with. And now, I'm going that direction, but I'm not going that direction. I hope we get there together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Mike, this is Gina.
Hi, Gina.
And Catherine and Karen. I'm with both of you. And so throughout the program, I'm hoping there'll be opportunities to hear about, financing, and I guess creative ways to do financing relative to like the strategy you're using to purchase. Because I know sometimes for me, and understanding the financing is sometimes where I get a little anxious because like Catherine just said, I want to get it right. And have deals work out as favorably as possible, like everyone else.
Yeah, no, I would hope probably by week 6 or 7 of doing this, we're doing creative deal work. We're talking about the 50-40-10. We're talking about seller financing. We're talking about all of that. And where the lines are, where I'm comfortable with the lines. Your lines might be different. But I'll be clear as day where I get nervous. But yeah, I once we kind of get through the market, the buy box, the Excel spreadsheet, the tracking, the discipline, then it's like, okay, how do we use all of this to create deals? Because anybody can buy out of the MLS, right? That's just that. But how can I get creative and look for opportunities where I can take less capital or some seller equity and kind of put all of this together? I'm guessing we're going to spend a lot of time there, but we're going to have to do the foundation first. That's why I'm guessing that's week 6 or 7 of this. But I hope we all get there for sure.
Good, thanks.
Of course.
Oh, one thing on the financing topic, I'd like to talk about maybe potentially a way to find 30-year fixed debt for an LLC.
Okay.
If that's even a possible thing. I keep getting stuck with 5 years. So.
No, so if you go to any non-QM lender, I mean, I don't know what you're buying. I guess that might be different. But non-QM lenders that I talk to, Stephen Dow, Conway Mortgage, they do brand new LLCs, 30-year fixed rate debt. Now the rates aren't conventional rates, but they're 30-year fixed rate debt.
Sure. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are all the questions I want to hear. Yep. Anything else as we kind of wrap up just this quick introduction, my hope for it? Scarlett, Scarlett? Yep,
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, hi.
I'm in the Tampa Bay area, which is the market is super, super hot. And with choosing a market for the buy box, is it more of learning the buy box? So I could choose something local because I live here and it might be easier. So would that be a good place to start, even if I think it's crazy?
Yeah, no, I hope you ask this question again Sunday. What I would tell someone to do is, learn your market locally. Because what we're trying to get to is I'm trying to give you the skill to learn the market. You could learn Tampa much faster than you could learn Detroit. Mm-hmm. Going that far away with market, no infrastructure, nothing, you're adding risk on risk on risk. But if you spend 90 days learning Tampa, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this zip code, and you could say intelligently it's a negative 3%, and you could still stack rank and you could see good or great deals, you've got it. Once you have the confidence, what I have found is once people get confidence in one market, they could take it anywhere in the country. My best analogy, and that's what I did. If you read One Rental at a Time, Olivia and I spent 52 Sundays looking in the Bay Area for that magic area. It doesn't exist. But I took all that discipline, all that knowledge. I interviewed 20 people in the Fresno market. Most of them said the Mayfair district, so I focused on the Mayfair district. I only looked at houses, and in 60 days, we were writing up offers. But if I don't do that first year locally, I have no idea how long it takes. So yes, for most people, unless you have infrastructure that trust, and love in that another market, I think most people should learn the skill locally, in my opinion.
Is it wise? Like, what's funny is like I get a lot of postcards and stuff, investors wanting to buy my house. So I always wonder, is this going to cash flow? Should I sell it? Should I choose like my zip code and maybe start there, or maybe just a place maybe I'd like to move to in Tampa Bay?
I would like it in theory to be close enough where you can actually drive by open houses, you can walk through properties, you can do those things. Because again, what I'm trying to give you is a brand new skill and confidence in yourself. To me, what we're about to go through is like learning a second language, like learning a new instrument, like learning a new sport. It just takes daily execution. You get a little bit better every day. You have a coach to kind of guide you down the path. So in theory, I would pick a local market. If you could walk to enough houses, because here is again, like when we get to the buy box, you need to have 20 to 40 active listings. Most people can't walk to that much, but you can drive to that much. So that's what I think.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, and any videos I should watch beforehand now that I've picked my market for next week?
I would watch the deep dive buy box.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Van Rith.
Hi. So I live in Long Beach, California, and kind of the area that I'm in, like the things that we could do in this area are ADUs.
Sure.
So like with the garages or such, or if
Yeah.
it's a big property, how does that how would that work with kind of running numbers? Is that just like an expense, or is that just
So again, we will do this together depending on your situation. How I would run these is there would be an acquisition cost, right? You need to get the property. Then there would be an estimate for capital improvements, which would be creating the ADU. Then there would, for most of you, there would be some kind of refi after, right? To extract some, if not all of your capital back. That's how most people do ADUs.
okay?
So we would run that scenario. Now, if your situation is different, you're like, hey, I can stroke a check for it, then that's a different conversation. But I'm talking with Thatch Nguyen tomorrow, and he's killing it with ADUs. There are some markets, like he's in Seattle, I guess, or wherever he is. It's just the right way. So you buy a property, corner lot, garage or alley access. You do a junior ADU in the garage, and then you do a little 2-bedroom in the back. If that's the way you want to roll, everything we're going to talk about helps.
Okay.
It becomes the buy box, becomes the area. Then you have to network. You have to figure out, does your city have approved plans or not? What's the requirements? I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, homework you'll have, but if that's what you want to rock and roll with, it can help.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Philippe?
Yeah, I had a question. So wanted to see if we can discuss two things. Number one is tax advantages or strategies with rental long-term holds. And then the second piece in your book, One Rental at a Time, you talked about a transition during the housing market crash where you moved from residential to commercial investments, and kind of like the signs of the times today. What should we be looking out, the signs to identify potential exit strategies?
Yeah. So the first question is, obviously, I don't pretend to be a lawyer or your CPA. So I will give you my experience, knowledge, and what I've done with taxes. And we can always get Bob Langworth, who is actually in the course. Bob Langworth is a CPA. Maine Bean Counters is the guy I go to. So he's in the course. If we have to, we'll if there's enough interest in that, we'll get him added for one of the days. So we can do that depending on where the questions go. So that's kind of point one. But there is videos from Bob on seller financing in the course, which you have access to. And then, yeah, absolutely. We will talk about what we did in, I guess that was 2005 and 6. We 1031'd at the peak, right? If you go look at Norris Drive, we almost nailed the top. We sold it. We 1031 into apartments. I think Philippe, to your point is, and not a lot of people realize this. I don't know why. People think the housing market and the multifamily market operate in unison. They're not even close to the same. I have often seen where housing is nutty, multifamily is falling over because people are leaving multifamily and moving the houses. And then when housing gets weak, they move to multifamily. So it's kind of this juxtaposition. But yeah, we could talk about the affordability index, which was obviously my guide, Bruce Norris, again, full credit in the book. We could also talk about debt structures. I do think this time was very unique. And I actually just talked to Ken McElroy, right? It posted on his video or his podcast, I guess. I got into it with him, right? I was like, I can't believe we repeated the same stupidity from last time. We just did it with bigger numbers, right? We did it in the multifamily space. So there's a lot of bridge debt coming due. There's $1 trillion coming due. I think about a third of it will be extend and pretend. A third of it, they'll change the operators. But then there's the other third for guys like us. And like I said in the video with Ken, if you see it, I think there's going to be tremendous opportunities to pick up small buildings because they were over leveraged. They had bad debt and they're coming due at the wrong time. So I would definitely work with networking with small community banks. Yeah, well, we can definitely talk about that. Other thoughts or questions or hopes?
Hey,
All right.
Michael.
Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry, one more. Kind
Fine.
of along those lines, but talking about um, not just tax advantages, but also like setting up an LLC. I know you've had guests on before that talk about that, but just um, that was one of my questions. The other was I know some of the other ladies talked about where they are in life. Some of us, like myself, have a family, kids, sole provider. That's the way my wife and I chose to do things. So I think from that perspective, uh, taking those things into account when we're making these decisions. Uh,
For sure.
yeah, I just real quick uh, on my end, I'm one of the people that kind of found you. Had I found you sooner, I would have done things a little differently. But thankfully, we have a primary home. We lived in California most of our lives, and 21, we bought a house in the Dallas area, DFW area, and I moved from LA to Dallas February of this year. But in between there, refied to 2.49 in LA, and then 275 here in Dallas
That doesn't
area.
suck. That doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I think the things that you talk about as far as what I could have done
Mm.
when I refied, now I have that kind of trapped equity
Mm-hmm.
situation now. So
Yeah.
that's we did rent out LA. We do have a tenant, so I'm gonna. I was planning to do a buy box for my market, but also my home in LA to just to kind of see where that lands.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we can definitely talk about strategies again. Um, we are where we are, today together, right? So I don't know how much equity you have there. Extract. So first off, you're never, or at least very unlikely, going to refi the principal the first. So what you're looking at are seconds, which are 11, 12% today. You could do an equity line, maybe get something in the nines. But the good news is it's there. You don't have to use it. You don't even have to get the equity line. You have to do the work first and figure out, right? A big thing for me, Steve, is I would never put my house at risk, right? A lot of people talk about max equity and cash outs and all of that stuff makes me nervous. I would never put my family home at risk. That said, and I don't mean to talk out both sides of my mouth, so hear this. I took equity line on our Mountain View home several times, but I always said I'm paying it back in a year, right? I would take my commission or my other things, and we wouldn't buy anything else until it was paid back, right? If the deal was good enough, I would use it, but I would only use it for the sweet, sweet deal. So until you do the work and you could articulate to your wife that, honey, this is a top 1% deal, we'll find one of these a year. You've got work to do. So I think I hear you.
Okay, thank you. And just wanted to say thanks for putting this all together. I'm one of those people that was kind of sitting on the sidelines and needed a kick in the butt to get off. So appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I fully expect to learn as much as all of you. I think I will learn what needs to change in my message. I think I will need to learn topics that I don't talk about enough, like LOCs, trapped equity. So please understand that I expect to get more out of this than any one of you individually. I do expect, obviously, I hope you collectively get more value than me because you're paying me for this. But I certainly hope I get a ton of value out of this, and I fully expect I will. So thank you for being here and being interactive with me. That's important. Hi, Karen.
Hi. Could we also talk about, being a good landlord and raising rents
Mm-hmm.
and just
Absolutely.
making sure we have the correct paperwork and everything together? Because I know in California, there's all kinds of craziness.
Yeah. We will probably focus on operations, right? Being a good landlord, selecting tenants, probably 8, 9, 10. I'm kind of seeing that as the evolution and journey. So that'll be kind of towards the end of this, but I absolutely hope we do. I mean, that's an important aspect, right? Getting a deal. I think I talked about this with Brian Adamson last week or two. Getting the deal for lots of folks is like the event, but you know what? You're a landlord now, so you're about to have lots of events. So yeah, we should definitely talk about that. I agree 100%, Karen.
Hey, piggybacking a little bit off what Karen said, I also kind of wanted to go into buying tenant occupied versus vacant.
Ooh, I like that conversation. Yep.
Even and then raising rents, how to navigate that, especially in a state like California. And then even navigating like probate sales, corporate firm, not corporate firm, so on and so forth. Just looking at the different buying opportunities out there.
Yeah, so we could definitely get into the buy box of buying tenant versus unoccupied probably as soon as the second week, right when the buy box, because those variables will change. So Jason, let's make sure we talk about that in box 2. We'll probably talk about finding deals, probate, not probably as we kind of wrap all of this up. Not a lot of you will be searching for that. Some of you, most of us on this call, I'm guessing, are not doing lead stacking and using Property Stream or Property Radar to kind of mail out. But I've done probate deals, and we can talk about those.
Another question just on raising rents. I know you've talked a lot about like insurance changing kind of rapidly.
Yeah.
And so if we could at some point talk about that and how we factor that into when a tenant is renewing, how we approach that. Because like I think you've talked about, you can go from cash flow positive to an alligator just because of insurance.
Yeah, it's insurance, property taxes in some states.
Yep.
I got some people that have been investing in Texas, and they thought they were in good spot, and property taxes changed. Yeah, we can definitely should talk about that. We'll probably be week 4 or 5 when we get into kind of past the buy box, like now we're owning and operating. But yeah, absolutely. Let's make sure we do that. Travis, you have a question?
Yes. Michael, thanks for putting this together. And I'm in the St. Louis area, so if anybody wants to reach out to me, been a lifelong resident of this area. So I wanted to ask you about the yields in current days versus the yields a couple years ago. Now that the interest rates are higher, how do you adjust your expectations for that? And I guess what is a good deal or a cash flow amount for a property with interest rates the way they are?
Yeah. So for me, it always is about yield. Like I would, and to kind of piggyback on that, I would not buy a deal, even though, let's say it had a yield of 20%, but the cash flow was $20, which you can technically do, right? If you get into a 0 down deal, you only pay closing costs, you can get some astronomical yields. So I would not do a deal on a single family home that was less than $150 cash flow. That's kind of a minimum. So that let's remove that part of the equation. But yeah, I look at my buy box all the time. What would this be? So we're 23. So 2021, kind of 8% was a great deal. Today, it's tough. My yield's probably down to 6 if I'm lucky. Now, again, I could get 5% in a treasury, like all of you. So the question is 6 going to get me off the dime? Absolutely not. But I've been doing this long enough to know that you can always find that one deal that's a 9 or a 10. And I do think as we get into the end of Q4, just like I did last year, guys, if you watched me last year, I called my shot and I said, I'm going to get a deal before the end of the year. And I got 2. Because again, when the market slows down, the people that do the work, like all of you, it's like you can see around the corner and you could see a deal. You can see a listing. It's 45. It's 51 days on market. It's got horrible pictures. The yard's not maintained. It's vacant. Right at 40% off. Even at 8% capital, you get a large enough discount. It's a monster deal. So that's what I hope happens is all of us go through this together and we're like, because I can go through the list in Fresno now and it's almost like I have a radar. I can almost sense, where the opportunity might be. And I hope all of you, get close to that. Because even in a rate world, even if we had 12% rates, there are still deals to be had. And in fact, at 12%, they're probably easier because you have no ownership, no owner-occupied competition. Only people are selling as motivated sellers. So, you get terms like we're going to talk about a bunch. And you could also get, lower prices. So, yeah. So today, nothing in my market. 6% is a good deal today, where 2 years ago it was 8. In 2010, it was 15. Right. So it changes. based on the year, really. Cool.
I wouldn't even look at anything that was less than 12% a few years ago.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it all changes. And you know, today 12% in a lot of markets would be a great deal you'd run after. Yeah. Yeah. This is exactly where I hope we all get is I think a lot of new investors they look at the MLS, they see a listing and they're like, does it make sense? Yes or no? And today a lot of them are no. But where I hope all of us get to is you see the listing and you go, it doesn't make sense today at that price, but I hope you ask yourself, what price does it make sense? That's what I'm trying to get to probably week 4, week 5. Is okay, I can't pay $315 for that because it only rents for $2,400. And I can't do that because I pay 8% mortgage. But you know what? If I wrote an offer at $271, and now I'm just making these numbers up, I could get a great deal. Now, can you guarantee the seller's going to say yes? Of course not. But that your job as the buyers to make the market. Write it at 271. Let them counter, let them say no, but at least you wrote a great offer. That's where I hope. That is the essence of where I hope we all get to. Anything else?
It might be something for like the last one or something, but like 1031
Yes.
a current portfolio into maybe larger buildings like 10 to 20 units buildings
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, you know what? I think when we get into even I hope we don't have to table these to the end. And again, this is why the whole idea is we're going to take one topic, we're going to do 30 to 45 minutes on it. We're going to get all the questions out on that topic, and then it's a free form. Right? We could be talking about 1031 in detail probably but as soon as week 3 or 4 if that's where we want to go. Because we really have to get to the part where we're all to the spreadsheet, which is probably week 3 or 4 before we really could do that earnest. So I hope, yeah, we could start doing that really as soon as week 4. That's if you happen to be in a position where you bought a property in say 2016 or before, and you're sitting on 70% equity, one of your options is going to be to 1031 exchange. I've been very clear. I hope to repeat what I did in the book. Like there's a part of the book where I document all the houses we sold and the units we bought. I hope to do that again. And I got a lot more houses this time. So yeah, I hope we do that for sure. I don't know who is speaking, but I hope we do that.
Hey, Michael, I have another question. I think I kind of know the answer to this, but I still wanted to just put it out there. So, like earlier, you were saying like most people in this group, we are not going to be like using PropStream or whatever to get deals. And so, so basically to like find deals, we don't have to go to that extreme, right? Like we can just study the MLS and be on top of it.
Yeah, Amy, that's Amy, I think, if I remember the voices.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to treat this like Mike Zuber 2002. Realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin, whatever your flavor is. That's what we're going to do this on. All on market. Because once you can do it for on market opportunities, this is the same stuff for off market. But yeah, that is correct, Amy. We're gonna do this like we're all not realtors. We have no access to MLS. We have nobody feeding us MLS, reports. It's all realtor.com. I used that for 15 years. Save searches on realtor.com. We're going to do that again.
Thank you.
No, thank you. All right, guys. So thank you for being here. This is not day 1. This is day 0. This doesn't count to our 10. Our first meeting is going to be September 17th. That's a Sunday, 8 to 10 a.m. We will alternate Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We will not repeat a day like the next one won't be a Sunday. I promise you, because it's impossible to get a day that works for everyone. The first topic is going to be finding a market. If you don't have a market yet, awesome. Bring your questions. We're going to have everyone who doesn't have a market talk, share what they have, ask questions. At the end of that day or 45 minutes, hour, wherever it takes, some of you will have homework, and then we will open it up to any and all questions. If you wanted to ask questions about 1031 exchanges and what I did or am doing or whatever in day one, we can. It just won't be part of the first session, right? The first topic. But that's, again, I want to do 2 hours. My vision is the topic of the day will take 45 minutes to an hour, and then we will give each of you an hour to ask any and all questions. So that is our first session, Sunday, September 17th, 8 to 10 a.m. I will probably send the invite out tomorrow, just in fairness. I'm going to go have dinner with Olivia now. And I will probably also, to the request earlier from Amy, probably send the blind copy email to everyone saying, hey, if you want to be on a group chat or a group email string, reply with a yes. I'll collect those and send one off. Or you could just do it in the Facebook group, because all of you should have access to the Facebook group. One rental at a time works. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Again, I look forward to this as much as you. I hope to learn as much as you. Just have a great evening. Have fun. And we will talk on Sunday the 17th. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.